mathematician in 1951 proved something that explains both the threat of nuclear annihilation and why it never occurred. This is that proof. A 2x2 grid. 2 players, 2 choices. Cooperate or defect. It looks like a boring spreadsheet. It's not. It's the mathematical blueprint of betrayal. And it's the reason you're alive right now. Here's the game. You and a friend want pizza. You both have 2 options. You can chip in fairly, or you can stiff the other guy. If you both chip in, you both get a good amount of pizza. If you both stiff, you both get nothing. But here's the trap. If you chip in and your friend stiffs, he gets all the pizza and you get nothing, and vice versa. So what do? The rational move is to stiff. Look at it from your side. If your friend chips in, you get more by stiffing. If your friend stiffs, you get nothing either way, but at least you didn't get played. So stiffing is always better for you individually. Same logic for your friend. So you both stiff, you both get nothing. Congratulations. You're rational, and you're both worse off. That's the Nash Equilibrium. A state where no player can improve by changing only their own strategy. John Nash proved in 1951 that every finite game has at least one of these. For the prisoner's dilemma, the equilibrium is mutual betrayal. It's the worst collective outcome, but it's stable. Nobody wants to change their move alone. You're stuck in a bad equilibrium, and you can't escape by unilaterally cooperating. Now, scale this up. 2 players, 2 choices. Cooperate or defect, except the players are the United States and the Soviet Union, and the game is nuclear war. Defecting means launching missiles. Cooperating means not launching missiles. The payoffs aren't pizza. They're survival and annihilation. In a one-shot game, the logic is the same. If they launch, you'd better launch too, or you lose. If they don't launch, you could win by launching, so both sides are pushed toward launching. Mutual destruction is the Nash Equilibrium. That's the terrifying math of a single-round nuclear game. Rational players annihilate each other. But the Cold War wasn't one round. It was round after round after round. Every day was another move, and that changes everything. In a repeated game, you can punish defection tomorrow. If they launch, you launch back. That threat, the certainty of retaliation, makes cooperation stable. Defect today, die tomorrow. Suddenly, the rational move is to keep the missiles in the silos. This is mutually assured destruction, mad. It sounds insane. It is insane, but mathematically, it's an equilibrium. Both sides have second strike capability. Both sides know that launching first guarantees their own destruction, so neither launches. The equilibrium is terrifying but stable. The world held its breath for 40 years and the math held. Now pivot. Same math, different application. Instead of avoiding a bad equilibrium, what if you could design a game where the good equilibrium is the only one? That's mechanism design. It's reverse game theory. You set the rules so that selfish players are forced toward the outcome you want. Here's what that looks like in practice. In 2017, the FCC ran an auction. Not a little auction. A $19.8 billion auction for radio spectrum. TV stations had licenses they weren't using. Wireless companies wanted that spectrum for 4G. The FCC needed to buy it back and resell it. But how do you get TV stations to name a fair price? How do you get wireless companies to bid honestly? You design the game. The auction had 2 sides. On one side, TV stations said what they'd accept to give up their licenses. On the other, wireless companies bid for the freed-up spectrum. The rules were built so that lying was a losing strategy. If a TV station asked too much, they got nothing. If a wireless company bid too low, they lost the spectrum. The Nash Equilibrium was truth-telling. Think about that. The FCC didn't need people, to be honest. They built a machine where honesty was the rational move. Selfish players, acting in their own interest, produced an efficient outcome. The spectrum moved from low-value uses to high-value uses. The government made nearly $20 billion, and nobody had to trust anyone. The math handled it. This is the quiet victory of game theory. It's not just a way to understand the world. It's a way to build the world. Auctions for ads, for electricity, for landing slots at airports, all use this logic. Google's ad auctions are mechanism design in action. Every time you search, a tiny game runs in the background. Advertisers bid. The rules force honest valuations. The equilibrium delivers an ad. You see it. Someone pays. The math takes its cut. But here's the crack. What if the game never ends? Not repeated 10 times. Not 100 times. Infinite. No final round. No last move. In a finite game, you can solve backward from the end. In the prisoner's dilemma with 10 rounds, rational players defect on round 10. Knowing that, they defect on round 9, and so on, all the way back to round 1. Backward induction destroys cooperation. In an infinite game, there is no last round, so backward induction fails, and the Folk Theorem arrives. The Folk Theorem says something wild. In an infinitely repeated game, if players are patient enough, almost any outcome can be sustained as a Nash equilibrium. Cooperation forever, defection forever, alternating, complicated revenge patterns, all of them can be equilibria. Consider that. The math that gave us a precise prediction for a one-shot game gives us a multitude of possible equilibria for an infinite game. Anything goes. The concept of equilibrium loses its teeth. If any behavior can be an equilibrium, then saying something is an equilibrium tells you nothing. So which one do we actually get? That's the open question. Equilibrium selection. Nobody has a general answer. In the real world, factors like trust, communication, reputation, and evolutionary pressure can nudge players toward one equilibrium or another. But the math is silent. It gives you a menu of possibilities. It doesn't tell you what will happen. This isn't academic. Climate treaties are an infinite game. Countries decide every year whether to cooperate on emissions or defect. The math says both cooperation and defection are equilibria. Which one we get depends on things the math can't capture. Price wars between companies, arms races, friendships, all repeated games, all with multiple possible equilibria. The math describes the possibilities. It doesn't choose. It's a map of possibilities, not a predictor. Nash gave us a lens, a way to see the hidden structure of conflict and cooperation. That lens explains the Cold War stalemate. It explains how a $19.8 billion auction can run on honesty. It explains why you sometimes split the pizza and sometimes you don't. But the lens has a limit. In infinite games, the lens shows you a hall of mirrors. Every reflection is an equilibrium, and the math can't tell you which one is real. So, what did Nash leave us? A tool of immense power, and a ghost. The ghost of the infinite game. The question he opened and couldn't close. When does an equilibrium actually happen? What makes one stable pattern emerge instead of another? We don't know. We're still playing. Every day is another round, and the pizza night never ends.